So this past week, I went to YALcon, which is the Young Americans for Liberty annual conference that's held for this organization, which is mainly conservative and libertarian minded. It's my first one I've been to in a while, in a couple of years, so I wanted to go by just to kind of see what things looked like there, what the political climate was like ever since the very large schism that took place on the right wing. I kind of just wanted to see what solutions people had, what ideas they had. So I wanted to do a quick recap on just some of my highlights and just some of the other stuff that went on there that I thought was interesting. I thought that the lineup this year was just excellent. I thought it had a lot of different varied voices who were very intellectual and had a lot of things to say. So one of the big speakers there was Afro Man, and he kind of explained his story where he talked about how liberty and rights affect people. I think that he's one of the breakout cases that shows that we have to expect to use our rights in every single instance, regardless of who you are. He might have been a little high, but he was still one of the best speakers there. Another speech, which was one of my favorites, was the Tom Woods speech. He gave an awesome, riveting speech about how he was the campaign coordinator for the Ron Paul campaign in 2008, and he describes kind of a history lesson on everything that they did, all the ideals that he stood for, and what it took, really, because they fought a very authentic grassroots campaign. From the way he described it, it was just an amazing experience, and you kind of just had to be there, really. I highly recommend checking out his speech. I'll leave a link below, but definitely if you watch one, watch that. And then we have the event that made some headlines, Vivek's speech. From what I understand, he was warned in advance that he was going to face a potentially hostile response from the crowd if he did speak, but he did it anyway, which I can kind of respect. He was supposed to give a 40-minute speech, which was then turned into a 15-minute speech due to the fact of just the amount of heckling and boos that he received.
Resort to the divide in this country between women.
I didn't find the speech itself to be that stimulating. He was interrupted a lot, so there's that, but it kind of just seemed like a general rehash of American ideals and didn't seem like much more than a campaign stump speech since he is running for governor of Ohio. I think the people in the crowd were perfectly in the right to do what they did. They're defending their own views that they've already talked about, and they're staying consistent. So to me, it shows that the movement is all the more authentic and that it's something we can actually take seriously. The closing speech was given by Rand Paul, the U.S. Senator, which was a pretty good speech. There's not a whole lot to say about it, except that he did show up right after he had the hearing with Anthony Fauci in Congress. Fauci pled a bunch of times the fifth and didn't really say anything. So it was kind of cool to see that happen live because it was happening while we were at the conference. And it kind of just showed, how this interacts with the real world and what we're doing in real time. The event also had a ton of networking opportunities and career booths with people in the movement. It also had breakout rooms where people gave smaller, more enclosed discussions where you could hear about rent and inflation, running a campaign, funding a